What is the one thing that's keeping you broke? By the end of this video, you're going to have both our perspectives on what we think that one thing is. My name is Darius.
And I'm Carmen. I am excited to dive into this because Darius and I haven't shared what each other think. I've said it once. I've said it a million times. I think your mindset is what can keep you broke. To elaborate on that, I think it's just really important for people to become aware and like really understand their relationship with money, because the things that you see, the things that you hear, the people that you're surrounded with can significantly affect what you do with your money, and you don't even really know it because it can be subconscious. And I know that you and I have done a ton of work, just mindset work and consistently mindset work, where we have to check each other a lot to be like, wait, which way are you thinking? Is this abundantly or in a scarcity mindset, so that we can continue to become our best selves when it comes to this financial play.
Right. And I also respect especially the conversation or dialogue that we're able to have when you check the people in my circle, or we check the people in each other's circle, because that's a huge thing. The people that you hang around is the people who you end up becoming. So when we have a group of people that we're getting to know, Carmen may pull me aside and be like, I understand you like whoever this is. I know they're a nice person, but some of their values don't align with some of your values. Yeah. So I like the fact that we're able to openly be able to have a conversation about the people that we have in our circle. Because again, the environment in which you spend the most of your time is how you're going to end up thinking about your financials and your mindset.
Well, yeah, because everyone always says that you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang around the most. And that's where you really have to start to evaluate. So
no, I don't think everyone says that. I think that is like the truth.
Well, yeah, it's a popular phrase. I guess maybe that's what I should say.
Okay.
And you should take stock in that, because just because you may not be with someone in the physical sense, it's the people that you're talking to on the phone every day. It's your coworkers that you're with every single day. We're not just talking about friends and family. We're literally saying the people that you spend the most time with. And that can be on the phone, that can be on FaceTime, that can be face-to-face, whatever it is. You have to start really evaluating the relationships that you have, because misery loves company. And sometimes negative things stick more than positive things. And sometimes we can be encouraged or we can be swayed the other way to accomplish some of the goals that we want to, and not realizing that it's just your community or the people that you're surrounding with projecting their own insecurities on you.
Right. Now, the positive side of that is the fact that you can also be in an environment where the people around you push you to be a better version of yourselves, yes, better financially, better within business, or even inspire you to create a business, because that's exactly what happened to us. We can't think the environment in which when we were in Arizona, we were surrounded by entrepreneurs who really inspired us to be the best version of ourselves, be it waking up 5 a.m. in the morning to meet them at the gym.
Yeah.
We weren't going to be the ones that don't show up because we're tired and our friends are there working out.
Have some excuse. Sorry, we couldn't figure it out yet.
Exactly. Or we weren't going to be the ones that come to our weekly meeting and didn't have anything to report to the rest of the group in which that we improved upon. We can't come singing a sad story that, oh, I wasn't able to do this because the dog ate my spreadsheet.
Talking my spreadsheet. But that there are different spins that you can have on this, and community, your programming is huge. And I know that there are certain things that, not necessarily for myself, but I know friends and family have grown up with, and different sayings of like, money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford. I can't do this. I don't want to lose money. Like, a lot of those things are just normal sayings that people say, but you don't realize how powerful that those words can be, and how it subconsciously just embeds itself in you. And then you realize like you're not striving for anything else because you think you can't afford something.
Right. And those are some of the phrases that I heard growing up, where we didn't have money. And maybe that was the case, but maybe we can reword how we say it. Maybe we need to figure out a way of, instead of saying we don't have money, how we can get
how we can pay for it.
How we can pay for it instead of
we can't afford this.
Exactly.
How are we going to pay for this?
Yeah.
So that it's thinking in a way of creating a plan, creating a strategy around it.
Because as parents, or when I think about my parents, some of the things that they said, a lot of things that they said, I can still remember hearing it in my mind. when you continuously hear those things in your mind all the time, when you go to make a decision, what you're going to hear is what you've constantly heard. So I think a lot of the conversations that we have, yes, we may mean exactly what we say, but it's not setting us or the people around us up for success.
Yeah. It's funny. I literally just had this conversation with a family member, and it was like daggers to my heart. Every time that they were saying something, I was just like, oh man. And what it was is that they kept repeating that they couldn't afford certain things. And we were talking about investing, and, that they were investing in real estate, and it was like, fantastic. You invest in real estate. Great. Well, why don't you use some investors' money? Oh, I don't want to lose investors' money. And it was, well, why would you go into something thinking that you're going to lose somebody's money? And it was like, no, I can't afford to do that. And it was just negative. So it made me think like, wow, just how fortunate I am to know that I do have opportunities, I do have resources, and it doesn't always just have to be negative.
Right. My mindset, what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah. And in that, the negativity is what holds you back and keeps you from progressing. And that's all it is fear, the lack of knowledge.
Right.
That's all it is. So that's where I'm wrapping up my point. I think my point is your mindset, which can be good or bad. Hopefully in this case, if you start to recognize some of the things that you're saying or hearing or seeing, another thing too with the mindset, the things that you're seeing, right? We're always marketed to every single day. I think it's like the average person sees well over 1,000 ads a day.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly influenced to consume, aka buy, and give up your money, that's going to keep you broke too, because you're continuing to give up your money instead of thinking, what do I actually need versus want?
Well, that's when we subscribe to the programming, when we subscribe to the cable TV.
Yeah.
Or those constant commercials and ads.
Well, I thought you were going to say subscribing and keeping up with the Joneses. That too.
I don't think it's keeping up with the Joneses anymore. I think now we have to say keeping up with the Kardashians.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the number one thing that's keeping us broke is the fact that we prioritize investments into things that don't make us money. When you take a look when you take a look at your finances, the biggest expense that you have is your investment in your mortgage or your investment in your car. And those things don't put any money in our pocket. Now, a lot of people might say, hey, my house is an investment.
Equity.
It's an asset. I have equity, but you can't spend equity. And we talk about the fact that real estate is an investment opportunity. We're not talking about the house that you live in. We're talking about the house that you have that's generating income for you, not the one that you have that you have to pay your mortgage and you're paying 4% interest, 3% interest, or 1% interest, whatever you have. You're still spending money every single month on a mortgage that is compounding for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that a lot of people prioritize investments that don't put money into their pockets is the number one reason why people are broke.
I really like that because it goes back to education. It goes back to financial literacy, where people think that these things are assets,
right?
And they're not. It's just a misconception. Especially housing. We're going to get a ton of people on the comments that are going to say
it's okay
and contrary to, which is fine. But again, it's about making sure that we can continue to stay consistent with the messaging and informing people out there that your house is not an asset, that the house that you live in is not an asset, because it's costing you money. And when you think about the money that you have to pay in principal and interest, by the time you earn that equity after you've paid your principal and interest, sometimes you end up paying another third on top of that house, which is already up to the equity. So did you really make money on that transaction, or are you just breaking even? Well,
I think when it's you have a 30-year mortgage, $200,000 or more, and 4.5% interest, you pay double over 30 years.
Yeah.
So you always pay significantly more in interest on a mortgage because of how long that is spread out.
And then we're not thinking about maintenance and all of that too. We're just talking about the mortgage. So
exactly.
Heating, furnishing the place, gas, all of that. These aren't things that we're taking into consideration.
Right. Now, for me, once I came to grips with that, then I wanted to prioritize my savings and make sure savings is more than what I spend on our mortgage or on our or rent.
Do you think also once you got that clarity, you realized that you didn't want to pay your house off as fast as you thought?
Yeah, because equity is a lot harder to spend than cash. So if I maintain the minimum payments on the mortgage, then it keeps the banks happy, but I'm able to do something with the difference
that you would have paid
that
off.
I would have paid off the house with.
And you can flip that many ways.
I can flip that many ways instead of just paying off the house and having the money sit in the house.
Yeah, and not being able to do anything with it.
Now, a rental property is a different situation. I want to own that more so than I want to own my mortgage.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And these are just different tips that we're sharing with you too, because that's the other thing is when people realize that either their house isn't an asset or they're just figuring out the journey, it's always like, I got to pay my house off. And I don't know why somebody has always told us, pay your house off. Like where that programming has embedded itself, we need to get rid of that because we are literally giving up all of our good dollars today and that we can't invest, we can't flip, we can't do anything with just to go park it in the house that we then have to ask permission to get equity in, and you're not always going to get equity or get the money. That's the thing that kills me is so many people are like, yeah, I have equity in my house. It's like, okay, go ask the bank for that money. Go ahead. See how long it takes and then see if you even get approved because it's never even guaranteed.
Exactly. You have to get approved to get money out of your house that you own or that you have equity in.
Or sell it, and then that's a transaction in itself.
Well, it's tough, but I know once I realized that we were prioritizing our investment in our house and our mortgage, I wanted to then prioritize our savings. That's why I always first and foremost say you must pay yourself first, because for us the first thing that we pay is always the most expensive.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be my biggest expense, or we're going to be our biggest expense through savings, because that allows us to then use that money to then invest so that we can generate other sources of income.
Yeah, savings is powerful.
Savings is powerful.
And I'm glad that you made that connection, because a lot of times people don't make that connection because it's focused in mortgage. It's focused in their car.
Right.
It's focused in just investing. Sometimes it's investing and they don't even have money saved. So I think it was a game changer for us with our financial freedom journey for us to recognize the prioritization of ourselves, because we need that engine to help us get in that car and drive to the places that we need to go.
Right. The only thing that's going to allow us to make money is time and money. We can trade time, which most of us do. We punch a clock and we go and work for somebody, or we sit there and we spend time to understand the opportunity that presents itself in some type of real estate deal or stock market. We spend time in the absence of money. But once we get that money, we then need to then use that money as a tool to make more money.
Leverage. We need to understand the power of leverage.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be another thing. Can I add a point? People don't understand the power of leverage.
We said 1 point.
That's what's keeping you broke.
We said 1 point, but go ahead.
No, I don't. No, I'm just, we'll save that for another video. So going back to your mindset, and then also tapping into what you're saying is the misunderstanding, the miseducation of what assets truly are.
Right. And prioritizing investments that don't make us money.
Yeah. So
mortgages and cars.
So the assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. And when we think about a car and a house, they do just that. They take money out of our pocket consistently. Yeah. And we don't even think about it because we were told at some point that this was an asset.
We look at it as an investment.
Or an investment.
Yeah, it's an investment, yeah.
But essentially all investments should be assets.
They should be.
Should be, which is another thing that's probably keeping you broke, right? If it's a should, that's a question mark, big old question mark that you should go investigate.
Right.
So we hope that this video was informative, just to have honest dialogue on some of the things that we think about with what's keeping you broke. And when I always think about money, I feel like people don't put psychology to money, and they should go hand in hand, because our emotions are up and down, round and round constantly. We are emotional beings, and if we're not tapped into those emotions, it can significantly affect what we do with our money, the habits that we get into, which then leads to this unnecessary spending and the spiral that we go into. So I feel like it goes hand in hand. If we're not in sync with that, then sometimes we can earn all this money and then spend it because we were never in touch with ourselves in the first place.
So if you want more information on how to save and manage your money, then check out our next video where we talk about that very thing.
And don't forget to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.